So we've already talked quite a bit about the real estate market here on today's show, but as we said earlier, all housing markets are local. You have niche markets, but you also have niche price ranges. The gentleman I'm bringing on the show right now is Seth O'Byrne. He handles all kinds of ranges of prices here in San Diego, but he truly is a luxury real estate specialist. One of the first times we had him on the show a couple of years ago, Seth wanted to talk about the beauty of real estate. I know we get into the tax advantages and the equity growth and the money that can be made by having a home or multiple homes, but it's also a place that you're going to live, you're going to build memories, and you're going to be a part of a community. And we want you to love that home. And this guy really does specialize in helping you to tailor the right type of living situation. Ultimately, when you do sell the thing, to make it a great investment, and whatever you do with that equity is up to you. Maybe reposition to a bigger home or your dream home, whatever it might be. This is the guy for it. Seth O'Byrne, good to have you on the show here today. And we've got two new guests to the show. I'd love for you to introduce them if you could, just so we can get a feel for what we're going to be speaking about and get to know our guests. So please.
Yeah, I'd be glad to introduce them. Kate and Richard are part of Gatling Design, and we were introduced to each other because we both have long-term clients. In fact, there's a property we just recently closed last month, and it was a record sale at almost $3.1 million for the square footage. It was absolutely one of the highest price per square foot in Coronado.
Wow. And
some of it had to do with our marketing. I hope some of it had to do with our marketing, but a lot of it had to do with this design. It is quite literally, and my marketing director, Frank Glasser, and I were talking before the show, it's quite literally probably of the 13 years we've been selling real estate, the most beautiful piece of real estate we've ever sold. And so we forged a friendship after that, or more than anything, I was knocking at their door to hope I could forge a friendship with them, because when you work with designers like this, it makes our job a lot easier.
Well, you know, and it's fascinating too. I think people know a bit about people that buy real estate and flip it. That's one thing, but another thing is actually taking your home and enhancing the beauty of the actual home where you're going to live and you're going to raise your family, right?
Yes.
So you guys do a terrific job of this. You have a great reputation, obviously connected with one of the best realtors in San Diego on the luxury stuff. So Richard, I don't understand how you do it, to be honest with you. I have a house right now that we're doing some work on, and I don't have an eye for this stuff, so I know that you do. How do you look at these homes and really take them to that next level?
Well, one thing is that we're able to visualize how the home's going to look in 6 or 9 months when it's completed. So once we really have that idea and can organize it, then everything else falls into place. Another important aspect is get a really good contractor to work with you, somebody that's responsive to the design and responsive to your time schedule. So it's really about total organization of the job.
So you're kind of the quarterback on the deal, right? You're going to go in there, you're going to have an eye for the property.
Maybe the coach.
Fair enough. So you're not running the play, you're just drawing the play out. Got it. So you're going to basically identify some of the things that we can do to enhance the property, and then you're going to have a team that goes in there and does a lot of the work. Is that right?
Right. We have a team that does the design. We do a lot of drawings. We do a lot of interaction with the owners to try to find out exactly what they want in their house.
Well, you know, Kate, I know there was this project that I wanted to show off to Craig in the show that I thought was so cool. I know it was a Spanish Revival project that you did that you got some press for as well, a lot of fanfare. I was wondering if you could maybe just kind of walk Craig through that and walk us through that.
Yeah, sure. We're really proud of the Spanish Revival home, and we actually, like Seth said, we won an award for it.
Where was it?
Point Loma.
Okay, Point Loma.
We won an award for it, the American Society of Interior Designers here in San Diego. It was a few years back, and the homeowners really loved the style of their 1920s house, but needed more functional space and wanted some indoor-outdoor space for entertaining. So we were able to reconfigure it. We gave them a larger kitchen, an upstairs master suite, and an outdoor room that has a fireplace and a hidden pool table.
That's awesome.
So earlier you were talking about a property in Coronado. So everybody thinks Coronado, multi-million-dollar property. Before the show, you and I are talking about you're doing a variety of properties, from condos, single-family residences, these luxury pieces of real estate as well.
Almost any type of project. Sometimes they're homes from the ground up. Sometimes we will tear down a home and rebuild it. Sometimes right now we're doing a really interesting condo conversion project where we're changing the entire style to suit the new tenant. So we're all over the place in terms of what type of projects we can do and what level of work. And
sometimes it's, you know, remodeling the master bath and then moving on through the project to, you know, next the kitchen and doing it in phases as well.
Well, and it's kind of important to know, and it was something you know, you notice this immediately. Richard and Kate are extremely humble, but the beautiful thing about their design is it does speak for themselves, and they are unbelievably, they've got more awards than you could imagine. And the first property that I found out about, and maybe you could speak to that, Richard, is there's a beautiful La Jolla project they did that was right down the road from actually our Sotheby's office. And I know it was 2013 San Diego Home and Gardens House of the Year, or one of them,
exactly.
Right?
This was a 1930s cottage. The clients loved this older neighborhood of La Jolla. They wanted to respect the neighborhood. They wanted to respect the house, the style. So the house was not in great shape, so we decided the best course was just to take it down, rebuild the foundations, and rebuild it in more or less the same style. But it allowed us to double the size of the house, but you can't tell that from the street. This was just the opposite of a McMansion project. Everybody thinks the house is exactly the same, that they just did a paint job on it.
I had an interesting conversation with a friend of mine earlier this week, and we were talking about the style of homes and how it changes over time. Mm-hmm. I have a hard time understanding that. I understand clothing styles or hairstyles, right? Yeah. But real estate and house styles change over time, right? What's cool now? What are people doing now? What are the best ways to enhance not only the living situation of a home, but also when a guy like Seth is listing this property, look, they're trying to get their money back and then some, the equity and the value of the home.
Well, you know, we've gone through several styles here in San Diego in the last few years. We all remember the Mediterranean style, the Tuscan style, which is sort of fading now. But now, as this generation is getting older, the buying generation is getting older, the mid-century modern and more contemporary homes are really becoming more important in the market. The main thing when you're wanting to build or design to resell is to find out which things will give you the best return. Kitchens always give you a good return. Master baths, outdoor living always gives you a good return. So we can work with the client to decide where to spend the money in the best way.
I can add to that. There's another thing to help you get a great return. It's a great realtor. A realtor that has an eye for this stuff, that knows how to take the property to market. And I honestly don't know anybody better at it than Seth, especially when you talk about this high-end stuff. So you see a property that's been reconstructed, we'll say, or redesigned by Richard and Kate, and now you've come in there, and it's time to sell the home, and they want to move on, whatever those goals might be. What do you do, Seth, to take this property, identify all these amazing features, tell the story around it, and take it out to the marketplace, which, as you know, is now a global market, especially on this high-end stuff? It is.
And in fact, you know, our very first day we were on the market with 1510 Marie Place in Coronado, and Coronado is more than other markets in the international market. But the first day we were on the market, both of our buyers landed in Lindbergh Field to see properties in Coronado. You know, neither of them even lived in that country, or in our country. And so number one, of course, you know, I'm very passionate about video. Richard, Kate, and I did actually a very cool video with the homeowners talking about the design behind the property. Like they said, it sold in 1 week, so we weren't able to release it. Now the new homeowner enjoys the video, but it wasn't part of the marketing project. But you know,
the video with the previous homeowner?
Yeah, exactly. But you know, I think why it's so important to tell a story around a property, especially a property of this caliber, which is why I thought it was such a perfect marriage, and why having Jan Horn on the architectural division at Sotheby's is such a perfect marriage, is really beautiful real estate can't be broken down into beds and baths. It's not about square footage. It's not even about, you know, the number of cars you can park there. And in some cases, I find beautiful real estate, people will go to other areas of the county to live in beautiful real estate. It's more about the project itself, and I think you need marketing that successfully tells a cohesive story, the story of the design. So I really understood that was kind of, there's a symbiosis here. When you're talking about really sophisticated real estate, you do need a marketing plan behind it that tells that story in a cohesive way.
Got it. And you need big words like symbiosis. Seth O'Byrne he's at the top of the food chain when it comes to real estate. There's a lot of takeaways from this interview here today. First of all, if you live in a home and you want to enhance the design, we have one of the best award-winning teams sitting right next to us. We can reach out to them. Their website I'll pull up on the screen for you here. But also, you know, when you talk about the story of real estate, even if you weren't selling your home, I think with some of these high-end real estate, you want to capture that memory. And I've never seen anybody build better videos around real estate neighborhoods than Seth and his team. you might reach out to Seth on his website to do that as well. And of course, if you're going to take this thing to market and you want to get the most, for lack of better words, bang for your buck, you want to tap into as much equity as you can and attract as many eyes and ears to this. These guys are nationally recognized as a brand with Sotheby's, and I highly, highly recommend that you connect with them. Go to their website. Seth, Kate, Richard, thanks guys for coming in here. Great segment. Appreciate all the content. And if you have any questions, make sure you do reach out. All right, coming up next, earlier this week we went to America's finest city. We went downtown to find out what's happening in the gas lamp district. Also, as a consumer advocate, we got to talk about things like identity theft. Ashley Madison, front page of the paper. I hope you weren't on that website, but we're going to help you understand cybersecurity and some things going on with that coming up here in just a moment.